this video, let's focus on the subsystems of the Earth. Don't forget, after watching this video, don't forget to take the quiz, and if you have questions, please reserve it for our clarificatory session in our upcoming synchronous session. Our checklist for this lesson is to identify the components and the importance of the Earth's subsystems. Now, what are the Earth's subsystems? The subsystems are the major parts of the Earth. So the Earth is composed of four major parts or four subsystems. These are the geosphere, the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, and the biosphere. Let's start with the biggest part, which is the geosphere. The word geo means the ground, and we are standing above the ground right now. So the ground is made up of rocks and minerals, and also the land has different forms. We have different landforms. We have mountains, volcanoes, hills, and other landforms. And also deep below the ground, it's made up of different layers. So we are standing above the outermost layer, which is the crust. Under the crust, we have the mantle. Under the mantle, we have the outer core, and then the deepest layer is the inner core. Now let's compare the different layers. Obviously, the crust is the outermost layer, while the inner core is the innermost layer. Now in terms of temperature, which do you think is the hottest layer? It's actually the inner core, so it's the hottest layer. And while the coldest layer is actually the crust. So the crust is the coldest layer compared to the other layers. So the pattern here is that as we go down, the temperature goes up. So obviously the deepest layer will have the hottest temperature. So it's the inner core followed by the outer core, the mantle, and then the coldest is the crust. Now let's compare them in terms of their composition. Of course, the crust is made up of rocks, solid rocks. The mantle is also mostly made up of rocks, but again, it's deep below the ground, so rocks are actually molten. So the mantle is made up of molten rocks. So it's melted rock because again, as we go down, the temperature goes up. So this great temperature melts the rock. And we have a special name for molten rocks. We call molten rocks as magma. Then the outer core and then the inner core are both made up of minerals. It's made up of iron and then iron. The same thing for outer core. The outer core is also liquid. Again, it's liquid because it's very, very hot, diba? Then the inner core is also made up of iron, but it's actually solid. Why do you think the inner core is solid? Again, it's the hottest layer, so we expect the layer to be liquid, to be melted or molten. What do you think is the reason why the inner core is solid?